I asked 1,000 silver stackers what they think silver's price will be by the end of the year, and the results are shocking to say the least. Back when I first started my channel, I did a lot of silver polls, and I actually have a playlist I will link in this video. For example, how would you spend this $150? I would have a $150 coin, $150 worth of eagles, $150 worth of semi-numismatic higher premium stuff, or a 10 ounce of gold. So there was 4 options, and I would have the viewers comment down below why they chose that. And I did this because I was learning still. I was a newer stacker, and you guys kind of helped me figure out what's the best way to stack and why. Or even ones like this: where do you buy your silver from? Online, pawn shops, local coin shops, what price will you cash out at? And I asked these types of questions pretty often. I haven't really done it in a while, so I wanted to recreate what I used to do in a bigger fashion, since my channel's much larger now. So I made a question of, what do you think silver's price will be by the end of the year? We had 4 options: $30, $40, $50, or 100 plus. And we had 1.3 thousand votes. And if you want me to do more poll videos, let me know. Like, this one is coins or bars, which is the better option. There's a lot of different types of questions I could pose to my audience to get a feel, because I really do think this is very educational, and it's just entertaining to get a pulse on the stacking community and see what most people think will happen, especially with price forecasts. Now, this poll got 1.3 thousand votes, so we have a pretty good idea. But to make this even bigger, if you didn't already vote, I want you to comment on this video which you would have voted for, which is $30, $40, $50, or 100 plus, as the question being, what price will silver be by the end of the year and why. We're also going to go over everyone's reasons on why they voted for that option, and I'll even share mine at the end of this video, so stick around. With that said, here's the results. So we actually have a tie for first place, which is $40 and $50 at 35%. The least voted option was $30, and second was 100 plus. So we had 10% at $30, $40, 35%, $50, 35%, and 100 plus was 19%, which is pretty telling. Now let's look at the reasoning of why these people voted the way they did. So, local coin review. Hey Slayer, keep up the good work. I truly believe the paper market will keep it between 30 to 35, only because the paper to silver ratio is 362.79 to 1. That's criminal. However, I hope I'm wrong and it breaks over 40 plus. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are realists in the world of stacking, especially if we've been stacking for a while. We've just seen these patterns. It's pattern recognition. It's not even really bias at this point. But one day, the system will crack, right? Like, COMEX corruption will not be able to exist forever. Anyways, that's a whole separate video. But yes, I do agree. It is criminal, especially looking at that paper, the paper to silver ratio. Now, Bosom, he replies, that's hilarious. It's almost a perfect bell curve. 521 votes plus the number is exactly, or almost exactly, represents a bell curve. If you can get 1 million people to make their guess, you will be very close to the correct answer if you average them all together. It's called the wisdom of the crowd. The larger a number of people making a guess at something, and then when you average it all together, they come within like 1% of the real number, it's weird. But the amount of people that have no clue and guess too little or guess too much cancel each other out, and eventually you will come to an average, and it's usually very accurate. Wow, that's very interesting to look at this from like a mathematical probability perspective, and it probably would be between $40 to $50 with that, wisdom of the crowd logic that he mentions. So, and by the way, thank you all for voting. I had over 600 votes in 3 hours. Like, that's insane. Usually, channels that only have like 100, I mean, I can't say only 110,000 subscribers, but a lot of times channels don't get that much engagement, but you guys always participate and I appreciate that. So this guy Thomas says, I'm gonna say in the 30s because the higher ups will do anything and everything to keep these prices down for as long as humanly possible, which I do agree with. As long as humanly possible, but eventually it won't be humanly possible, right? But all they're doing is making the silver spring bigger and piling tension onto it. At some point, it won't just be a spring release, but a complete explosion. I agree. And that actually got the most likes out of any other comment. So that speaks for itself. Most people liked his comment more than anything. So David says the big players can't allow it to rise much more than 40, which if you're talking about big players like tech companies, like imagine if silver hits $100, what the cost of production for a Tesla would be. Like that is very alarming for big companies that are needing silver, not just wanting silver like you and I, but need it for, their products. But anyways, Mike Maloney already did the math for Elon Musk and sent him an open letter explaining what the cost of production for a Tesla would be if he waits till silver is $100. And Elon actually responded thanking Mike for the math. So this guy says, so Jim Larkin says, I could see it at 25 briefly, but none will be available at that price. And then this guy says this makes no sense. And then Jim says that actually it does. The price can be manipulated any which way they want. Since they can, why wouldn't they? This will serve to get weak hands to throw in the towel and say, I'm done. You might be able to buy on the COMEX at that price, but I doubt there will be any available. And shortly after, I expect both COMEX and LBMA to collapse. Yeah, I mean, I could never see silver going back down to 25. There's too much price stability at higher prices now. Like we're comfortably sitting at, let's check out what silver's price is right now. So silver's back up to 37.87, right? It dropped down to like low 37, but now it's back up almost $1. Like prices have stabilized at these higher prices now. It's not, this wasn't just a quick, false breakout, some false flag rally. Like these prices are here to stay, and for it to go down to 25 is extremely unlikely, but who knows? So this guy, Josh Man, says, call Beijing and ask them. I thought this was hilarious. I thought that was really funny, especially because the Shanghai's exchange silver is like 10.5% higher over there than it was like $42 or $43. Silver was that price, like $43 when silver on the COMEX and LBMA was only like 37 or something. But anyways, Chris says depends, could crash briefly like in 2008 if stocks crash, then skyrocket. Yeah, I mean the 2008 to 2011 crisis, you had the financial crisis, you had a recession/depression, billions of dollars in stimulus getting thrown out, and then 3 years later in 2011 silver hits 50. So if that did happen, if it did crash, then you would see something astronomical shortly after, especially if you're talking about the stock market crashing. So Derek says, I don't think we will be at 30, but 40 or above is a big ask. It all depends on what the US dollar index is at, which is true. Unfortunately, it's true. And I do think someday that won't be true, regardless of what gold is doing or stock market volatility is doing, or even the dollar index. Silver is going to do what it does because its unique role it plays beyond anything else. So temperature says depends on geopolitical factors. YouTube needs to stop censoring. I agree with that. So Michael says my guess at the beginning of the year was and still is 42. Wow, he predicted 42. I said good guess, good high low point for Vegas. He said it will be at 42 by the end of the week. This guy says Ash says that. So crap to bot fanboy says more to the point, what value does a nation's debt fiat paper currency hold at the end of the year? That's the question, and I do agree, right? Like people don't understand how how dislocated silver is from its real value because we're comparing it to a paper price. So John Feltwater says BlackRock or Larry Fink, who just about has all the military contracts, will keep the price of silver down as long as he can. I mean, yeah, since you know about the military industrial complex's involvement with silver, you're on the right track. You must watch my channel. So Sonny says, I don't know. The price of silver is determined and based on many, many things in the great unknown future. But because of the recent hype, I see the price of silver easily going to 50 to 60 by December 31st, 25. I might be wrong, but this is what I'm betting on. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if silver ever was going to go back to 50, right now is the most likely time, literally, because last time it did hit 39, it did go to 50. So I'm not just saying that out of theory. That is literally what happened last time it went to 39. It went all the way up to 50. So this would technically be the most realistic time for it to happen again since 2011. So you can't just say that's just some bias hype. So, this guy says, Ulysses Raymond says, within the last year, it's increased to 30s and then 40s. I'm going to risk it, say 50s. But you know what they try to do, and could be a possibility that it can go back down to the 30s. We shall see, though. Yeah, definitely. We'll see. So this guy says, I think the price will be between 40 and 50 an ounce, even though it should be at 2,000. Yeah. So Sovereign Cajun says dollar could mean US dollars or any other country that denominates their currency in dollars or pesos. So my guess is 6,837. Right. He's saying like not US dollars, like, 6,837 like rupees or something, like a random. That's funny. So this guy says, Mr. Toddle, or Mr. Todd, let's call him Todd. My crystal ball is showing a low end of $43.34 and a high end of 65. But as soon as they pretend and extend all financial institutes are doing, it will rise up to $147 and gold will be through the moon. But all of our 401k will take a 40% plus cut home. Prices will drop over 20%, and it will be a great time to buy commercial real estate, which is, for the most part, will be valued at land minus demolition, so keep your powder dry. Wow, that's a very intricate and thorough guess, but that's what his crystal ball said, so, gotta believe it. Good comment. Buckwild, silver's the most shorted anything for the past 50 years. I would bet we're in the $39 to $42 range at the end of the year. We won't see the real price till the vaults are 100% empty, just my opinion. Jeff Young says 44. Local Corn View 30 to 35. This guy says silver by the end of the year, $41.07. That make a break for 50 by the end of May 26, only to have a 13% pullback in September 2026. I like that you guys are so, thorough on your answers, saying down to the exact penny and saying exact percentages and exact months and exact dates. I really do like that. I should hold some type of giveaway, like whoever does have the closest silver's closest price from like the LBMA price, because there's different silver spot prices, different locations, but do like whatever LBMA's silver spot price is by December, the closing day of December 31st, 2025 wins, some silver or something. I actually did that on my Patreon once, patreon.com/silverslayer. I do giveaways over there sometimes, so go check that out if you want. But I thought this was really fun. So yeah, what did you guys think? I'll throw my interpretation out now. I think it's going to be between $42 and $44. I would probably say I'll say 43 then. I'll say $43 because, and I say this because prices have stabilized, especially with more validation of silver now being back up to 30, almost 38. Prices are here to stay. That wasn't a false rally or a false breakout. There's a lot of stability building, and as we head into the end of the year, things are only, especially with tariffs and everything, it's only going to get more severe. And with like the LBMA admitting that their silver vaults are near empty or at record lows, that type of stuff is going to affect the price. And people are starting to wake up. You have people like David Bateman buying $1 billion worth of silver, posting a picture of it on Twitter, showing everyone. People are are becoming more exposed. And like the video I made the other day, if only 1.5% of people, of gold investors, move into silver, that would be stratospheric for silver's price. Only 1.5%. And that should show, with silver becoming more mainstream, if that happens, that this easily could be a massive silver squeeze unintentionally, not like the Hunt brothers that purposely did it, or like Wall Street Silver did in February of 2021. It would just be unintentionally, just naturally draining the market, and that would force the hand. But anyways, I thought this was a really fun type of video. If you guys like these types of videos, make sure to like the video. Go check out my other polls if you guys want to see some other results from 8 years ago, how much the community has changed since then. It was a lot more personal back then, but my channel was also a lot smaller, so it was easier to build, actual relationships between my subscribers. Now it's a lot harder to. But anyways, I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. If you want to purchase some before it goes back up, info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know Slayer sent you. Helps me out. I love you all. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace. Folks, I'm so excited to announce that I've partnered with American medical experts, whose purpose is helping veterans get the medical benefits that they truly deserve. Over 17 million veterans aren't receiving their full benefits, and if this is you or someone you know, then act now. American medical experts are offering free consultations through our med team to see how we can help. The med team offers board-certified doctors who have experience working with the VA, comprehensive medical evidence for services like mental health as well. Some of these include your Nexus letter, your DBQs, your TDIUs, your AAs, and more. I want to personally thank American medical experts for helping veterans, but also giving me an opportunity to help veterans as well. Click the link in the description or the pinned comment to get a free consultation through our med team. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless.